faith.
Well, the effort to pay college athletes gets some mixed reception in the Supreme Court, as some justices suggested they would back a lower court's decision easing the NCAA's limits on education-related compensation and reject the association's bid for a broad antitrust shield. The NCAA and its biggest conferences are battling college football and basketball players who sued to let schools start paying athletes in college. Joining us now to discuss is Thane Rosenbaum. He's a legal analyst and a distinguished university professor at Touro College and author of Saving Free Speech from Itself. Professor, good to see you. What are the chances the Supreme Court will reverse the lower court's ruling? Will we see college players get paid?
You know, Sean, from the oral argument, I would say many of the justices are sports fans. They demonstrated that, and I think they're sympathetic to the players. The league benefits, the NCAA benefits with very, very low labor costs, and they pay coaches, including strength coaches, $700,000 a year. And the students receive nothing other than tuition, room, board, and of course a favorable acceptance rate. The NCAA essentially has monopoly power over college sports. They set the market for what differentiates amateur from a student athlete to a professional, and their position has been, well, if you get paid, you've been disqualified and you forfeit your amateur status. But here's what happened, what makes this case different, Sean. What if you were a savvy high school senior and you went to Penn State and you were being recruited and you said, look, I know you can't pay me, but I have offers at Ohio State and Michigan. What if you give me, I want a computer for my classes, I want a musical instrument because I want to learn how to play the alto sax, I want a summer paid internship, I want to study abroad, and here's the kicker, I'm really smart, I want to go to med school. So when college is over, if I have the grades, I want you to give me a postgraduate scholarship to med school. That's what this case is about. Not direct payments, Sean, but what you could call education or academic related benefits that aren't really like a cash payout. It has a lot to do with what it means to be a student athlete.
So you're saying, so they're not going to receive direct payments. That's really not what this is about.
No. And I think that, the Supreme Court 40 years ago said, hey, look, the league, the NCAA, should decide what's an amateur and what's a professional. We respect that they know that. And even the other day, some of the justices said, we don't feel comfortable interfering in a league's business, right? In fact, I think the NCAA even appealed the lower court opinion, thinking that this Supreme Court is so conservative, they would be pro-business and pro-NCAA. But here, again, it's not a salary. These are all can be tied to the mission of what it means to be a student. And these justices are very aware of the tens of millions of dollars that each school receives that ends up leveraging and subsidizing other scholarships for other students. There are some states, including Congress now, that are contemplating legislation to let at least student athletes benefit from their name, image, or likeness, like on a jersey or on a poster. Why should they not receive any money for the poster or the jersey sale? But this is different. This is really very specific. Will you give me a post-graduation scholarship? And can I have a computer, please?
Yeah, that's huge in itself. You know what I think back to, Thane, is I forget the name, I think it's just NCAA, the video game of these players where they use the likeness of the players, right? And then they pulled that where you weren't able to even, they didn't make the game anymore, but the money that was made off that, and I believe they may be starting to make that again, are we going to see players paid through that route, maybe through the video games and such?
Well, the NCAA took the position, Sean, that, look, this is a slippery slope. One day you give a student a computer, the next day he wants something else or she wants something else. And so that's their argument. Their argument is there'll be no way to stop it. Consumer demand wants college students to be amateurs. They don't want them to be pros. I don't know how they know that, but that's the argument that they made, that consumers want to see amateurs make a distinction between college football and professional football. But there is an argument that if you move to the next level, which is what you're describing, video games, name, image, and likeness, that this is along the road to getting them salaries. And look, there is a movement around, Sean, that do think that this is a terribly exploitative relationship, and that when you're thinking about the sheer massive sums of revenue stream that college sports generates, again, strength coaches make $700,000 a year at some universities. Yeah. So I think that we're on the road to some reform for sure.
Yeah, that's strength coach, not head coach, and that's even more money. And then again, yeah, video games making all that profit, and you're talking a lot of money there. Thane Rosenbaum, good to see you. Thank you for your time. We appreciate that. We'll continue to follow the story.
Anytime.
Also watching this one, insider analysis of the president's infrastructure plan.